This video is about defining our basic trigonometric functions, namely sine and cosine. We're going to start back with a blank unit circle, which, as we've discussed, sits on the x and y axes of the coordinate plane. And we've discussed much about this circle already, including all kinds of special fractions and arcs. We're going to get back just to some basics here. All of our arcs start at the point 1, 0, where the circle intersects the positive x-axis on the right side, and then they extend either clockwise or counterclockwise depending on their value. So for the purpose of this, I'm just going to extend an arc counterclockwise and let it stop somewhere in quadrant 1, and where it stops at its terminal point, I'm going to put a point right at the tip of the arrow at the end of the arc. So this arc, starting at point 1, 0, and extending, stopping in the... So this arc, starting at 1, 0, and then finishing or stopping at terminal point, which is somewhere in quadrant 1, we'll call arc T. Now this terminal point, where the arc stops, has coordinates x, y. We haven't done much with those coordinates yet, though we've done a lot of other things with this circle. Those coordinates have values which we'll eventually discuss in our next section. But for now, all I want to do is refer to those x and y values. In fact, we're going to use them to define our trig functions. The x value of this coordinate is what is called the cosine of our t value for our arc. So the cosine of t, where cosine is the name of the function and t is its input, which is our arc length, that is the x value of the terminal point of this arc. So then, similarly, the y value of that terminal point is the sine of our arc t. Now, these two functions, cosine and sine, will do a lot for us eventually, but for now, that's the basic definition. The way that they're usually abbreviated is that you would see, for instance, instead of writing out cosine, usually you'll see something like x equals cos, C-O-S, of t, or similarly, y equals sine. It's pronounced sine, it looks like sin of t. And those are just the abbreviations of those two basic functions. So we have cosine pertaining to x and sine pertaining to y.